Yeah, old school. That's what I'm talking about. Listen, this ain't for everybody. Some of y'all need to hear this. I know you're in the trenches fighting, but check it out. I'm gonna put it down like this so I can help the saints understand. Everything you're going through is all part of the master plan. Or what? You thought cause you got saved everything was gonna be peaches and cream? You better wake up, son. Don't nothing come to a sleeper but a dream. Faith without works is dead. Read your Bible, you know what it said. He who don't work don't eat. Slackers don't get fed. Yeah, Jesus said he who puts his hands to the plow looks back the same ain't fit. Some of y'all ain't been in the trenches 5 minutes and you about ready to quit. I ain't mad at ya, I'm just hitting you with the real. If you died for me and I was still tripping, now how you think that make you feel? Check this out, deep game, this here's deep. Some of y'all ain't sawing nothing but you started trying to reach. But unto him who is able to possess your fathers by his glory. Struggles might be part of your testimony, but it ain't the end of the story. Now the point is this was prophesied way back in the day. Choir, sing your hook right here and see if the church can relate.
I know we can make it. I know good and well. I can work it out. Work it out. Work it out. Yeah, he'll work it out. I know we can make it. We can make it. I know good and well. I can work it out. Yes, he can. Yes, he can. Yes, he can. Yeah.
Thinking not strange, the fiery trials are to try you. You say, why you? But your church say, what would Jesus do? Why you asking if he ain't trying to do what he's saying? He told you he was going to have tribulations, but you thought he was playing. 1 minute you're telling how good God is and can't nobody beat your talk. The next minute you're backsliding so fast, it's like you're moonwalking. Oh yeah, I'm preaching to myself because I ain't no better. It ain't like I've been following his every word, obeying it to the letter. So we soldiers, we got to remember that. Regroup, stay on point. Yeah, bow down, confess, repent, stay humble, let him anoint. It ain't easy as I thought it was. I'd be lying if I told you that. But it's showing up getting better all the time. Trust me, that's a fact. Ain't nothing we going through that can't be handled. God put that on his son. Like they say, you can shout now if you want to, cause the battle's already won. So while you're going through the valley, don't even trip. You're gonna be on top. Choir, sing the hook line one more again. This time you don't stop.
I know we can make it. We can make it. I know good and well. I can work it out. Yes, he can. Yes, he can. He'll work it out. We can make it. I know we can make it. I know good and well. Oh, yeah.
Everybody, we're going to pump the brakes right there. This is your host, Lamont Patterson, and you listen to, you know who it is. This is I Am Indie, you know, the show to bring you exciting artists, producers, managers. Everybody's relating to this fantastic business that we're in. We hope wherever you are, whatever you're doing, you are, you know, being safe with it, you know what I'm saying, because this is our 100-year thing that we're going through with this pandemic and stuff, you know, so we hope everyone is being safe somewhere, you know, sheltered in place, and we also hope that you have your ear on this. I Am Indie. Right, today, you know, we have a dynamic show for you. Fantastic artist, producer, vocalist, guitarist, and I even heard something else, seen something else, that he also has some teaching credentials under his belt. You know, the young man goes by the name of AC, you know, Mr. Arnold Cardon. Let us see us here in the building. Arnold, are you with us?
Yes, I am here. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Loud and clear, man. Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to come through and chat with us.
Well, thank you. I really appreciate the opportunity to hang out with you, Mr. Patterson. I appreciate it.
Oh, man, you know, it's definitely my honor, man. I'm always inspired, man, to, you know, talk to, you know, gentlemen such as yourself, man, that's doing so many fantastic things out there. And, you know, I'm really, really impressed when I read some things about you that's, you know, reaching out and, you know, touching some children and, you know, sharing your gift of music with them.
few hats as far as when it comes to music. I've tried to open myself up as much as possible because it's not just about yourself. It's about who you're healing with your music and abilities.
And we both share this one thought that, music is the international language, and I might even say the global language, because through our music, man, we can touch and elicit so many different emotions, man, and share so many great stories and help people, through, some trying times, so that's a fantastic thing.
Yes, most definitely.
Well, you see, I always like to start off the show, letting the artists have the floor for a minute. We got all the pat questions and stuff, but I kind of like our listeners to know, who AC is, and talk a little bit about, your humble beginnings and, where you come from and how you started in the business, and then we'll get to all your accolades and all that good stuff.
Yeah. Well, I'm originally born and raised in Las Cruces, New Mexico. That's my hometown. New Mexico is my home state. And I was, you could say, gifted with music early in age. I actually started picking up a guitar when I was 6 years old. And my parents had brought home some old beat-up records, back in the day when we had vinyl. Well, now we got vinyl again, but back when it was,
that's true.
The first time vinyl was here, it was Elvis Presley records that were all beat up and scratched, and I didn't know what this stuff was. I just put it on this old beat up record player, and I heard the first Elvis song, That's All Right, Mama, and I had there's a beat up old guitar sitting in the closet with 2 strings on it, and I just picked it up and I tuned the strings by ear to match the song. And my parents were just falling out the door looking at me like, what did he do? How did he do that? And I didn't even know how I did it. I was so moved by the groove. It wasn't just the song, but it was the groove of it. I started moving, and from that moment, I started listening to everything. The radio was my home place. I turned it on every radio station. I was listening to the funky 70s disco. it sounds funny, but there was some cool grooves in some of that. I was listening at the time. I started to get into the rock stuff, the Hendrix. I was influenced by everything. And then my parents were buying me, records that had like Andrea Segovia, classical artists. And so and then my father, who was older than your average father to have, he was actually a World War II vet. And people my age, not a whole lot of people have parents that were older like that. So I guess I came late in life. But he was listening to the swing, the 1940s swing on his records in the house. So I had all this influence of all these different music, and it's kind of jumbled my brain up a little bit. It's like it's like a candy store, it's like if I could just go to one piece of candy and focus on that, I'd be good. But no, I like this candy over here, and I like this, and I like that. And next thing you know, I've got all this music in me. And so, through my teens, I was getting into metal music, and I was listening to like progressive jazz, like Al Di Meola and Korea. And then I go listen to Van Halen and Judas Priest, and then as the years get on, you got all these other artists coming out, influenced through that. And I was basically self-taught for 16 years before I even thought of getting an education. So I had trained myself to play and on the guitar, and I would sing. I started singing because the bands I was jamming in, no one knew how to sing. And everybody get lost in the song. It's like, well, where are we in the song? I don't know. And it's like, well, I can just sing along, and so we can find where we're at. And I ended up having a voice too. Got into choir in school, and so it was just a self-taught thing as I went until I got older and decided to really hit it hard and get an education. And And, I really had great support from my family and incredible support from the local community. Hubbard's Music, I grew up in that store, got my first guitar there. They were always supported me. And just like my mom, and my dad, they were just like, go for it, just go for it, and, the average, I would say the average parent would be concerned sometimes when kids pick something in their life that they want to go for that might be difficult. My dad was a federal police officer, for White Sands Missile Range, and he worked really hard. And my mom was an educator in the schools, and and their kid turns around and says, "Oh, I'm going to play guitar for a living." Like, well, wait. There's a little concern because it's such a risky business, it seems, for some, and music is so captivating and inspiring. For me, I just didn't listen to stuff on the radio. I picked up a guitar and started playing with it. I started moving to it, and I thought, I'm a little different than the average listener. I got to do something with this, and if I'm going to do something, I better go all the way with it because, in the end, I better be able to pay my rent too, So
definitely got to eat.
Yeah, so I thought if I get as good as I can possibly be and cover all the bases, I might do something, or go or make a living at least, and still be able to be happy. I think that was it's like the movie, The Pursuit of Happiness. It's something that I can't see myself doing something that that makes me depressed, or that I'm not happy, because for me, music is just not, invigorating to my soul, but to other people. I noticed right along very early, when you play for people, you catch their attention. You take their mind off of their pains and their woes, the things that are going on in their life. And I didn't realize how much of an effect music can have on people. And it doesn't matter what style of music. Everybody has their own thing that they like. But there's something more to just the music. There's something very healing about it. There's something that takes you away from your pain, if at all, for momentarily. So I started to notice this, and I got a little spiritual with it in my writing and my playing and how I was feeling it. I just didn't play guitar and sit down. When I played it, I was feeling it. And so I thought, this is important. It's a little more than I would expect as far as just learning some chords and singing and getting recognition or whatever, or accomplishing something. It was really, are you taking it where it should be? And that's where are you healing people? Are you taking them to the next level where the job is really done? And to me, I thought, I got to do this right. I got to get it. I want to make sure all my bases are covered. So so from that point, after high school, I ended up considering some educational opportunities. I studied at New Mexico State University for a little bit, and then I was actually using New Mexico State to prepare myself for a bigger school, which was Musicians Institute in Hollywood, California. One of my best friends, Chris Welch, who's an awesome trombone player, I used to spend a lot of time with his mom, who was a very, very, very awesome support in both his and my music. And she kept telling me, she's like, you need to go to Hollywood. You need to go to Hollywood. And I'm like, oh, they'll leave me alive over there. And she's like, no, you got something. So I really had a lot of support. I went over there and went through that program. And I'll tell you, it's hard when you go into something like that, because some people were telling me, well, you don't need to go to school. You got all this down already. Just if you want to get better, take some local lessons or something. But I really wanted to see what I could do. And once I got there, I was a little blindsided, because you've got the big city, you got the incredible players, you got all the different genres floating around, and you got this big question mark. Okay, what am I going to do? But the other thing too is I had to go through it all to realize that they were just telling me something that I already knew, that I had learned on my own and taught myself, and it was just basically putting a name to it, putting a sign on it, say, well, this is what this is, and this is what that is, and that's great. It helps me with my songwriting, and especially in my teaching, because then I ended up teaching on the side along with being an artist. So it's been I've taken a little time to really develop myself, but I just didn't try to go with the seat of my pants. I really wanted to stop for a moment and say, am I doing this right? Am I going the right way? Am I covering all the bases? Because I really just wanted to get everything that I could with my talent. I noticed that some people that we mentioned with me teaching kids and stuff, I just don't teach the kids when I'm doing my classes. I actually look to see which kid is actually shining a little more, that they stick out. I'll notice things like that, and then I'll check them out and see, okay, well, I'll kind of test them around to see what they got. And it's not necessarily in music. I'll notice that they have an intelligence that, hey, this kid could be the president someday, or can be a mathematician or something like that. And so I really notice things like that. And, of course, in music, it's, I notice those things too. So that really helped me see more.
AC, I don't know what happened, but your vocals got really low there.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Oh, yeah, you're back.
All right, I think, yeah. So what I was saying is that there's a big circle that connects, with, being able to hear stuff and then show people what they might not know is inside of them, bring it out. And in the end, to me, it's like it's beyond the music. It's a connection to making the world better. I mean, in this time, everything that this world is going through right now, there's a lot of things that have been going on prior to the virus. That I thought we were done with that stuff. And all these different trials and tribulations going on in the world, and then the virus hits, and it's like, wow, this is a wake-up call. This is a time of recollection, regrouping, and rehealing. And what a better time to write music that is uplifting and challenges the world to, like, hey, man, let's put a little more love into the situation. Let's put a little bit more caring. Doesn't matter who you are, where you come from. We're all human. And here's some music, man. So just get down and groove a little bit, feel it. I really believe it changes. And I believe it's one big circle. Everything that I'm talking about, from learning the music to writing it, to connecting with people and teaching and all that, I think it's a bigger picture than just me sitting down playing guitar and singing. And that's what I like about what I'm doing, because it's you're in control, and you can make a difference, or you can just do something else and not. And I'd rather try and make a difference with it, because it's been put in my lap,
I totally
sorry I went on a little bit there.
No problem. I agree with everything you're saying, because I always tell myself and my friends that when my life is over, I want to be known for more than just stepping on ants every day.
Sure.
I want to, feel like my life has really touched some other people, and that I've contributed something that can live on beyond my days, And I'm listening to you speak, and I'm like, I think you were a producer before you even knew you were a producer.
Right. You come into stuff like that. I was so heavy into the guitar thing growing up, and that was all I was doing, just guitar. I would have my experiences, and I would go for it. And then the next thing you know, it's like, well, I need to record.
You got really low on me again, AC. You got really low on me again.
There we go. I got it. I'm sorry. I keep putting my finger over the wrong spot on the phone. So going back, I didn't know how to produce anything when I was growing up. I was playing guitar, and that's all I was doing. And so I got to the point where I was like, man, I need to record something. Well, how do you do that? And I didn't know the first thing about recording or nothing, and I just came up with an idea. Back in the day, we had the cassette player. I would record myself playing on the cassette player, and then I'd take another cassette player and play that cassette player back and record my performance with the other recorder onto a new recorder. So now we got two people playing, and then I would double it and double it and double it until I got like a whole band track going on. And I figured that out somehow. But that's what a major recording studio is. That's how it works. You know, you got multi-tracks and everything. But
right.
I just started teaching myself, and went from there. And the other thing too is like I needed bass, I needed drums, I needed a keyboard. You know, and I didn't know anybody, or there wasn't anybody that was able to do what I needed them to do. So I would actually teach myself something on keyboard or bass, and I would lay these tracks myself, and I just kept doing that. And I it just became second nature to me. And at the same time, I'm actually learning production, which I never even thought. I just thought, you know, I just got to get this stuff done. Here, this is what I got to do. So, yeah, it's amazing what you once you're inspired and you start doing something, you come into other doors open for you that you don't realize for accomplishment.
And I think the way that you've done it is more powerful, man, because it seemed like a lot of times less is more. Because I talked to a lot of different artists around the world actually, and a lot of them started out just like you did, and then you have the ones that were in a situation where they had all this different equipment, 48 tracks and all this stuff, and didn't know how to work any of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Just didn't know how to work any of it. But when you climb the ladder, like you did, you become so much more proficient and learning what you're doing and knowing what you're doing. You know what I mean? And with doing that, you just develop the feel, the soul in it, and that's impressive, and that's what you end up hearing in your music as well.
Yeah, it all comes with that inspiration. I keep thinking every day, if I didn't have that inspiration, if I just decided, I think I'll play guitar and maybe go to school or something for music, it wasn't like that. It was like in my blood. I'd wake up. When I was younger, I'd play guitar for 8 hours a day almost. My mom would be knocking on the door. It's dinner time already. I'm like, whoa, what happened?
And,
I mean, it just
while you
goes.
while you speaking on moms, AC, I want to give them a shout out to the moms and pops, man, because without their support, you wouldn't be doing what you're doing now. So I definitely want to recognize them too, man. And I appreciate all the parents that take time and support their kids. And it's really hard today, I understand, because of society and economics. A lot of them have to work, and they really don't have the time, which they should have the time, but they don't have the time to really support their children, such as your parents do. So I just wanted to recognize them as well.
Yes, most definitely.
Yeah, definitely want to recognize them as well, to support you and help you to become the artist and the producer and the man that you are today, man. So that's a great thing. But listen, before we rattle on and on and on and on, man, I want to give everybody the opportunity to put their ear on your music. So we got some of your songs queued up here. What should we start off with? What should we start off with?
Well, I start off with I've got some newer stuff, and I got some a couple of older things that I show example of what I'm doing, just the different genres. Let's try God Box.
All righty then. All right, we'll start off with God Box. Well, everybody, this is AC. Let your windows down and turn your air conditioner up and put your own this. This is God Box by AC. Okay, we're back with our guest today. AC is in the building.
All right.
What was the inspiration for that song, man? I can hear them fingers just flying.
Yeah, I have many influences and many genres that I actually play. Some of, like in today's presentation, you're not going to hear. I haven't finished the recordings yet, but I cover all these different styles. That one was an influence of, more of my rock stuff. I'm a guitarist firsthand, so I try and inflect some of my guitar technique into my songwriting, and it can be difficult because if you're doing, because I sing as well, if you're singing on a singer-songwriter type song, it's about the song. It's not about, how many notes you're going to play on the guitar. But I've got all these things that I want to say, and I try and squeeze them into one song. So it's a difficult thing. It's actually a next level of songwriting that you have to meticulously and carefully choose and mold everything that you can, so you can get your statement through. In this case, it was an instrumental song, and my influence behind this was more of like an Eric Johnson guitar kind of thing. He was a very major influence, one of many guitar-wise, and I love to just the straight up older school rock stuff, but with a flair, something that's interesting. And so this one I came up with, I wrote it in about 5 minutes and just started to lay it down. I played all the instruments on that one. I did all the keyboards, drums, bass, guitar, everything on there. So that was the influence of one of the genres that I like, based on Eric Johnson, kind of a blues influenced rock, progressive rock blues thing mix,
Yeah, you mentioned some of the other artists that I know and respect as well. Ivan Neville from the Neville Brothers. Aaron Neville worked on one of my first albums.
Awesome.
Yeah, he worked on one of my first albums, man, in the early 70s when I was first starting out as an artist, and it's been, and I'm hearing some Jimi Hendrix as well, and I see you've done some stuff with Steely Dan, which is another favorite artist of mine.
Well, yeah, the guitarist from Steely Dan, I did some work with him. I didn't play for Steely Dan, but Steely Dan's guitarist was brought in to work on some of my stuff some time back. I had a chance to work under Paul McCartney on a release that he put together for up-and-coming artists. When his wife, Linda McCartney, had passed away from cancer, he started a thing called the Garland Appeal. And one of the producers heard one of my instrumental songs, and he asked me to put it on the first release. And basically what it was is Paul was putting together these artists under his label to raise money for breast cancer technology that they were doing in England at the time. And so they accepted my song, put it on there, and it was awesome. It got published, and I got a chance to go to New York. And when I went to New York to perform, it was basically an auction of Beatles memorabilia to raise money, and they had like the Beatles producers there, also a lot of their memorabilia, of course, to be auctioned off, and then they had all the artists on this album play, and I got a chance to perform. And the band that they had backing up everybody were some major hitters. We had a keyboard player from Linda Ronstadt. We had Steely Dan's guitar player, which is John Harrington, and some major New York players. And it was kind of nerve-wracking for me because, when I wrote the charts out, I'm handing these charts to some of these big-time people. I'm telling them what to do, and it's like, no, you should be telling me what to do. So here I am handing them my music, and I'm like shivering, and I'm like, oh, man, I hope I did that right. And they killed it. It was awesome. It was a great experience. so that's one of my stories, that I got a chance to play with some major hitters on stage and backing up my stuff, which is nothing compared to theirs. But I mean, it was a great experience, learning experience as well.
Great. When you you played with opener for Tower of Power, was Lenny Williams with them then, or this was after Lenny Williams?
This was I think this is in 2004 or 5. I think. Trying to remember. I know it's the one bass player. I think he had passed on the last few years, but their big bass player was hanging with them. I can't remember the lineup because I know their lineup has changed a little bit. But yeah, I got a chance to open up for Tower of Power, and that was in Las Cruces. That was some time back in Las Cruces, New Mexico, and that was phenomenal. That was just, they are such an amazing band, and that's another influence of mine. You know, the funky stuff. You know, it's like everybody when I was growing up knew me as a rocker and kind of a metal guy. Country bands would call me up, say, "Hey, you want to play some country?" And I'm like, "Well, I don't do country." He's like, "Oh, give you $100." "Oh, I'll be right there." So
that's funny.
And so I just fall right in. You know, I had an ear for music in general. I just liked what I liked, but I started to learn. You know, I can play this. I can play this style and that style. So Tower of Power was one of my influences in the funky side of things. You know, I grew up listening to some of the funkier stuff on the radio. You know, go from Hendrix to the funky to the, you know, the Bootsy Collins kind of thing, you know, and then on up, you know. That's why I liked what Ivan Neville was doing with Dumpstaphunk, you know, and then Dumpstaphunk's a thing of today. You know, they're an old school funky sound and got the tones coming in from the New Orleans groove. And Nick Daniels, the bass player, actually, he was Nick Daniels III was the bass player for the Neville Brothers, I believe, originally, and he happened to be a friend of mine. And I was in a band with him in L.A. for a few years, and so that's how I connected with those guys. To a couple of them from the band to do some of my recording. But that's another influence, you know, the Tower of Power thing. It just came right through the funky. So I get confusing, you know, after a while, because it's like, well, I want to do funky, but I want to put some jazz changes, but then I want to rock it up, you know, like Steve Vai, and it's like, man, you're confusing, you know.
Well, it's a gift, man. Like you said, it is a true gift to be able to play, you know, different genres of music, man, and that is truly a gift, because a lot of musicians, you know, really can't do that. They get stuck and one thing, and that's all they can do. So it's definitely a gift and a blessing to be able to do more than that. You know, like I'm just looking at all the groups that you've played with and had influences of. You know, like Manhattan Transfer. I mean, that was one of my favorite groups as well. You know, I've always liked their production. You know, I mentioned Tower of Power. You know. Lenny Williams, he was actually the vocalist early on that did, you know, So Very Hard to Go. A friend of mine, and he's done this show as well several times, you know, so I definitely know all the Tower of Power stuff, and like I mentioned, you know, Aaron Neville. I mean, I was a kid in New Orleans, you know, when, you know, he kind of helped me out and kind of helped me, you know, through the whole studio thing when I was stumbling on everything. So you definitely had some great influences and been around some great people, man. I can definitely tell that.
Yeah, and I mean, coming forthright about it, I people sometimes ask me, some of these people I get to play with or get to do stuff with, you know, and they're like, "How'd you do that? How did that happen? And it's a broad question for me, because it's like I'm still a student. I'm still learning, you know, and when I get these opportunities, I'm really not thinking like, well, now I'm at this level and I'm supposed to be with these people. And it's like, no, I'm like shivering. I'm like shaking when I meet some of these people and thinking, man, I don't think I own this spot right now, but I am so grateful to be able to have an opportunity. And this is going to be a learning experience for me. I'm not gonna bump heads with no one. I'm gonna open up my ears and fall behind and learn and then grow. And it doesn't matter what age you are. It doesn't matter what age. It's like when you get opportunities like that, no matter how small or how big, you just keep quiet and go with your talent, go with your feel, and don't stress out. And it comes out really good in the end, without the panic going on, So that's the thing I really appreciate about this, is that I really learn from these people, because I cross over so much in genres. I can take different sections of these genres and then put them together. That's why I was a big Santana fan, and I just love what he did. He took so many styles. Of course, you got the main Latin backbeat of everything that he does, but there's other stuff mixed in there, and if you listen, you can really pick it out. I remember an interview with Prince. I heard Prince, they asked him, well, who's your influence, in your music? And Prince was like, you don't know? And they're like, well, no. And he's like, well, it's Santana. And the guy's like, what? And I was going like, really? And then he explained it. He's like, if you listen to my guitar playing, I'm doing like Santana kind of stuff. If you listen to my songwriting, there's a lot of hints of Santana. I said Santana was a major influence. And I had to sit for a while and think about it and listen, because I was a huge Prince fan too. And he was right. It's like, that's amazing. That's exactly what I'm talking about. You are influenced by something, and you go with it. You don't know what's going to come out on the other end, but it's going to be good, and it's going to be an inflection of what was brought on before. And that was amazing, because everybody respects Prince and what he has to say and what he does, and that really opened my eyes up. And so I was a Santana fan, and I noticed that I was doing kind of that idea where we're mixing different genres, different takeaways from each genre to kind of create your own thing and bring it out.
Is Carlos, is he still with us?
Carlos is, yes. I believe his brother just died. His brother passed away 2 days ago, Jorge, who was the originator of Malo. They had that song, Suavecito.
I remember Malo. I remember Malo. I did a lot of work with Lighter Shade of Brown when they were touring, so I toured with them quite a bit.
Right.
They kind of reminded me of Malo and stuff, But, yeah, I just wasn't sure about, Santana, because he's been kind of chilling for a minute. I didn't know if he was still with us or not. Wow. Yes, sir. Let me see. We got some more music, man. Let me see. We got Vain, Wild Horses, and Don't Spill the Whiskey, and My Dreams.
Okay. Well, let's try Don't Spill the Whiskey. That's one of my newer ones.
All righty.
And this is featuring Nick Daniels, and it's featuring Nikki Glaspie. She was a drummer from Beyonce, and she was with Dumpstaphunk for a little while. And, of course, Nick Daniels on bass. And the rest of the instrumentation is myself.
Okay. What genre would you put this in, or would you?
This one is like a funky blues. It's kind of like it's funky, but it has a Latin backbeat to it that I put in there. And so it's got a Latin backbeat with funky overgroove, and then it's got blues rock guitar on top of it.
All right. Everybody, you know the drill. Let the windows down, turn your air conditioner up, and put your ear on this. This is AC with Don't Spill the Whiskey.
Okay, your girl Miss Dramaganza, check. Lip gloss, check. Mascara, check. I am Indie with the homie K Diddy, check. You listening to Blog Talk Radio, baby, and I love you for it. Mwah.
Yeah. We back with AC. Yeah, I could hear that one, man. That was funky. I heard everything.
Yeah. Yeah, those are great players. Nikki Glaspie and Nick Daniels are just playing it down.
Yeah, I can definitely hear you all over it. So what's next
Thanks.
for you, AC? What you got going on next?
Well, that song there, and I'm doing some more tunes in that kind of feel. I'm going to add some horn lines, and I'm putting out an album with that kind of feel to it, that genre. But I also play Latin jazz, like Nuevo Flamenco guitar as well. I do that like on the side, corporate parties and stuff like that, you know. So I have this other side on the jazz side of things. So I'm going to put out an instrumental album as well in that genre. And it's kind of progressive, kind of like, you know, it's like a nylon Spanish guitar, as some would say, sound. A little more on the progressive side. And then this one, you know, I'm really going to push to get, I got some other tunes that I wrote with a band back in Albuquerque that I had, and I was influenced by my one of my close friends. His name was Ngala Nfaume. He was from Cameroon, Africa, and he was the most unique drummer you've ever heard in your life, and he inspired me with the African type beats, mixing with Latin and funk and then the rock. And so I recorded some songs that had that influence, and he ended up passing from cancer. I helped take care of him, and he passed from cancer, and that was one of my things that I thought, I can't let this go. I got to record this stuff. I got to put it out. And so I'm going to be releasing some of those tunes along with this genre here that you just heard, you know, with Don't Spill the Whiskey and that kind of thing. So that's what I'm working on right now.
Oh, okay. I know that should be interesting. That should definitely be an interesting song. So let me see here. We got a couple more joints here, man, and I want to get them in, you know, because time is sure flying when you have fun. I mean, let me see. We got Dreams, Veins, and Wild Horses. Okay.
You think we'd be able to fit them all in, or just a couple?
Well, we definitely gonna try. Because I wanted to ask you what inspired you to write "Spill the Whiskey."
Well, that's that recalls like a person in general that has, you know, they're down on their luck. They don't know what to do. Things are going bad in their life, and basically what I was saying in it is like, you know, what it's explaining is the person's just going downhill, and if you, in a sense, he starts to drink, starts to just say, I give up, I'm going to start sipping on the whiskey, and I'm saying, watch yourself, don't spill the whiskey. It's your life, my friend. Don't spill the whiskey, and you know, because if you don't watch it, everything you see before you is going to turn to doom. So it's a thing to say, hey, look out. There's a better way. You know, turn yourself around and don't let yourself sip too much on that whiskey, or you'll go downhill. So that's basically a warning song, you know, to turn things around.
Don't let yourself go down the drain. All right, let's play My Dreams. I like the title of that.
Okay, this is a funky R&B tune with the same players on it. More of my R&B feel to the music.
All right, here we go, y'all. You know the drill. Let the windows down, turn the air conditioner up, and put your ears on. This is My Dreams by AC. heard a little bit of Prince in there.
That influence comes out for sure.
Yes, sir. Let me see, man. We got about 3 minutes left on the show, man. I think I want to see if I can get a little bit of Vane in there, but if not, I'm going to have you come back, man. I just want to hear a little bit of this and let our listeners hear a little bit on this one, all right?
Sounds good.
Here we go. Everybody, we're going to have AC come back so we can get the rest of that. But, AC, we're down to the last minute and a half of the show, and I want to give our listeners, let them know where they can go get your music and how they can reach you.
All right. Well, you can reach me right now on Reverb Nation, and that's just you put in the artist section, just put in AC, and you can get my page and on ReverbNation.com. That's AC. And then also, you can contact Sherry Lee at elevatedevents123@gmail.com. She's handling a lot of my booking and all my event stuff and everything. And then you can reach me on Facebook. It's Arnold Cardon. Just look me up, Arnold Cardon. And then I got a website now up. That's arnoldcardon.com. And you can that's a brand new thing that I'm working on right now, and you can reach me there. And
all righty,
I appreciate
it. Give Sherry Lee a shout out too, man. And I want to thank you so much, man. I'm trying to rush this in, Scott. I don't want it to cut us off, but definitely appreciate you, man. Come back through any time, man. I love your music, man, and good luck on your future. And I know that you're gonna do big things, man. And if you're on the West Coast, man, come check us out, man.
Definitely. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
All right, man. It's been great, man. Enjoyed your music, enjoyed the conversation, man. And for the listeners, hey, look, this is going to be available worldwide in about 2 minutes, so you ain't got no excuse not to hear it, all right? Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir. Appreciate you.
Thank you.